All right, Khan, Shalom, Shalom, Israel, Shalom to the 12 tribes, Yasha Allah. Giving the course, all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bashma, Mashiach, Prophet Yahweh Shah. That's all praises, honor, glorification unto the Most High God, Yahweh. In the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shah, this is Brother Yasha Allah, coming back, y'all, yet another video through the Spirit and power, Yahweh, Bashma, Yahweh Shah. All right, so I'm gonna get straight into this. Let's go into the book, 2 Timothy, the 4th chapter, a quick breakdown through the Spirit. All right, so if you clicked on this video, you're here for edification, man. You're not here, you know what I'm saying, to watch entertainment. You're not here to, you know what I'm saying, watch some damn sports, right, or some vanity. You're here for that edification, and all praise to the Most High God for that. All right, so let's go into this. All right, 2 Timothy, the 4th chapter, quick breakdown. Right, verse 1. It says, I charge thee therefore before the Most High and the Lord Yahweh Shah Mahashiach, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. So the Most High, now Paul is referring to what people say, the judgment day, right? You know what I'm saying? The quick and the dead, meaning the quick is the alive, as it says in this footnote, right? The living, right? That's the quick. And the dead, which would be, of course, those that are dead. Now, let's go to the book of John, chapter 5, verse 25. There is actually going to be a resurrection, right? Let's go to the book of John, chapter 5. All right. Hold on now. Right. John, chapter 5. Right. Right. Let's go to the book of John, chapter 5, where he talks about, right, literally the resurrection, right? All right, Khan, right here. All right, so all praises, right? Verse 25. I'm gonna start verse 28. Right, John chapter 5, verse 28. Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming in the which all that are in the grave shall hear his voice. So that's the dead being raised up, right? Verse 29. And shall come forth they that have done good unto the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil onto the resurrection of damnation. We're talking about that lake of fire, which is going into basically that thermonuclear fire that's going to be upon the earth. All right, so they're going to be eating the missiles. Certain men, they're going to be raised back up. All right, their spirits are going to be sent back down and raised back up to get their judgment once more, that final judgment. All right, and certain men, their spirits are going to go raised back up, and they're going to be given the kingdom of heaven. So it's just about basically their lot and what they did upon the earth, all right, in terms of their works. So that's what Paul is referring to. He's referring to in 2 Timothy chapter 4, he's saying, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. So when Yahweh Shah comes back and he's talking about that, there's going to be a resurrection for people unto life, which is the kingdom of heaven. And there's going to be a resurrection unto damnation, which is going into the lake of fire, which is going into the people, right, that get judged with that thermonuclear fire, all right? Verse 2. Preach the word. Be instant, in season, out of season. Reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. So we have to preach the word. We have to be instant, in season, out of season, right? So when we're preaching the word, we have to be instant, man. At the drop of a dime, breaking down the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? At a drop of a dime. 4 a.m. doesn't matter. 4 p.m. doesn't matter. At a drop of a dime, we have to be instant. And that's being a true servant, right? Because let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 12. All right? Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 12. All right, in verse number 35, it says, let your loins be girded about and your lights burning. The Lord wants our lights to be burning all the time. Never, just on Wednesday it's burning. And then Thursday it's completely out. And then on Friday it's burning once again. Now the Lord said, let your lights, right? And your lights burning all the time. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes our fire may dim a little. It may flicker, right? Some days it might be on fire completely. But the point is, the Lord wants our lights to be burning all the time. So we have to be ready, instant, right? In season, out of season, right? Verse 36. And ye yourselves like unto men that wait for their Lord, when he will return from the wedding, that when he cometh and knocketh, they may open unto him immediately. So we have to be ready at a drop of a dime to preach the word. You know what I'm saying? Even going into the book of 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15, the Lord talks about giving an answer unto every man that asks you a reason of the salvation that is Salaki. Let me just pull it, right? Let me pull that. Let's go to 1 Peter, all right, chapter 5, Salaki, chapter 3, verse 15, right? And it reads, but sanctify the Lord God in your hearts and be ready always, right? It didn't say just and ready on the Sabbath day, but it says, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear. So we have to be ready always to give an answer to every man, and that could be at work, at school, your house, at the store, and especially for us, the Akim, we're doing all this studying so that we may answer these questions and let our light shine whenever or wherever you go, man. Because we want to represent Yahweh Bashim the best way. We don't want to look like we don't know anything about these scriptures, because it's really, in reality, this is our book. We want to know as much as we can about it. All right, this is the records of our forefathers. This is the book that the Most High God has given us in the last days. We want to know all about it. All right, we want to know all about it, especially if we are going out into the highways and byways and teaching, right, and reading and holding posts. We want to know as much as we can, right? Not to be boastful of it, right, but for the edification of the saints, right? Like it says in the book of Ephesians. All right, let me get that real quick. All right, Ephesians chapter 3. Right, Ephesians. It might be 4, right? Might be 4. Yeah, kind of. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 12. For the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Mahashiach. So we're not storing up all this wisdom for nothing, right? We want to edify the body of Mahashiach Yahushua, all right? So going back to this, 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 2, it says, preach the word, be instant, in season, out of season. Meaning, at all given moments, you know what I'm saying? And in season, out of season, we can even apply that to what? When it's cool, it's a cool day outside. It might be a cool day outside. It's a good weather. Everything's going smoothly. And you ready, you not tired. Hey, you preaching the word, it's all cool, right? You got 10 brothers with you. It's all cool. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that might be in season. But certain days, it might be out of season. It might be hella hot. It might be hella cold, man. Right? Extremely cold. It might be extremely hot. But still, nevertheless, the Lord doesn't give a damn about that, man. We still have to go out there, right? We still have to do that. We still have to do this work, right? And that's being instant at a drop of a dime, man. Not letting anything, hinder you from doing the work of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. But it says what? Reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. So we want to reprove our people. We want to rebuke our people. And we want to exhort our people, with all long suffering and doctrine. Sometimes, and all the time, we have to be long suffering, right? We have to be patient with each other, man. Especially with our people. We're breaking down the scripture. We can't expect them to get it. You know what I'm saying? With just one precept. We get mad at them. It's Deuteronomy 28. You don't get that, right? And we start condemning them. Not saying that anybody does that, but we have to be long suffering, right? Especially with one another as well in this truth. All right, verse 3. For the time will come when they would not endure sound doctrine. So the time is coming when people is not going to endure sound doctrine, and the time has already come as well. Remember, this is Paul. He wrote this, about 2,000 years ago, right around there. Now, he already told you that there's going to be people that's not going to endure sound doctrine. There's going to be people straying off from the doctrine. There's going to be people talking about the Trinity. There's going to be people talking about immaculate conception. All right. There's going to be people bringing in damnable heresies, man. Speaking things that they ought not. So it says, for the time will come when they would not endure sound doctrine. Right? But after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. So you have people going to certain teachers. They're going to these certain teachers because they have itching ears. Because of their lust, they're going to these certain teachers and abiding with them. Last time I checked, the book of Sirach says to not make thyself underling to a foolish man. We have to be wise when we're choosing the people who we want to follow in Mahashiach Yahushua, man. Are we following this man, right? Is he actually worthy, right, to be for yourself to make an underling under him, right? Because there'll be certain people, right? You might let's say you like to smoke weed, and there might be a camp or a teacher that teaches that you can smoke weed, and is still so-called in the truth, and you might go to that camp just because you want to smoke weed. You don't want to put that down. So that's an example, right, of people going after their own lusts and heaping to themselves teachers having itching ears, right? You might be itching ears. You might be like, you know what I'm saying? There must be something else, right? It can't just be Deuteronomy 28:68. It can't just be Yahushua, Revelation 1:14, right? It can't just be that. Now you might be going into other books now. You might be going into the Pseudepigrapha. You might be going into the book of Enoch and the book of Jasher. You might be going into the book of Jubilees. We got to put that down, right? Let's go to the book of Acts. Right? Let's go to the book of Acts chapter 20. This is the book of Acts chapter 20, verse number 28. Take heed therefore unto yourselves and to all the flock over the which the Holy Spirit hath made you overseers to feed the church of the Most High, which he hath purchased with his own blood. For I know this, that after my departing shall grievous wolves enter in among you, not sparing the flock. Also of your own selves shall men arise, speaking perverse things, to draw away disciples after them. Therefore watch, and remember that by the space of 3 years I cease not to warn every one night and day with tears. So Paul, he already prophesied that there's going to be grievous wolves that are entering into the flock, man, not sparing. And what are they doing? They're trying to eat him up. They're trying to eat him up with doctrine, and strange philosophy. The Lord even talked about that in the book of 2 Timothy, the 2nd chapter, of whom is Hymenaeus and Philetus, right? Of whom concerning the truth have erred, saying that the resurrection is past, and have already through the faith of some, roughly paraphrasing. And the word that will eat as doth a canker, because people with that evil doctrine, and it's contrary to sound doctrine, their strange doctrines is going to eat people up like a canker. It's going to, and a canker is like a cancer. It's going to keep eating it up. It's going to keep consuming, all right? And it's going to keep spreading. It's like a disease, This brother says this, and then now the whole damn congregation believes that, right? It's madness. But going back to that, right? Quick breakdown, right? Let's see. Already at 13 minutes, right? 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse number 4. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth and shall be turned unto fables. And what's a fable? A fable is a damn tale. It's a damn story, bruh. That's what a fable is. You can even read about that, the Jewish fables, in the book of, the mention of it in the book of Titus, I believe. Right? Jewish fables, man. Right? Verse 5. But watch thou in all things, endure afflictions. Do the work of an evangelist, make full proof of thy ministry. So we have to watch in all things. We have to watch where we're going off at. We have to watch our brethren. We have to watch our sisters. We have to watch the prophecies. Watching in all things, right? The Lord even said that in the book of Mark chapter 13, But what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch, all right? But watch thou in all things, endure afflictions. So we have to endure afflictions as well, all right? And we might be going through a lot of afflictions, right? We might be going through a lot of afflictions, man, right? Whether that's distresses, persecutions, you not being able, right, to get a job, whether that's afflictions in your household, whatever. We have to endure those afflictions as a good soldier, right? In Mahashiach Yahushua, the second chapter, right? Do the work of an evangelist. So we have to do the work of an evangelist. What's an evangelist? Let's look that word up real quick. An evangelist, a person who seeks to convert others to the Christian faith, especially by public preaching. Now, it's not Christian faith, all right? We do not believe in Christianity, all right? No, we don't believe in that. We believe in the doctrine of Yahweh Bashman Habashah, all right? Not Christianity. Christianity is what? White supremacy. That's what it is. So instead of Christian faith, let's replace that with just simply the scriptures. All right. To the faith of Yahweh Bashman Habashah. How about that? Right. So basically what we're going out is basically what an evangelist is, somebody that goes out, and does public preaching, man. And their desire and their mission is to convert, and their hope is to convert others to the faith. And essentially, those of us that go out into the highways and byways and teach and do this work through the spirit power of Yahweh Bashman Habashah, you can call us evangelists, man, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to evangelize our people. We're trying to convert them into the doctrine of Yahweh Bashman Habashah and bring them out of the philosophies of this world. All right. And it says, make full proof of thy ministry. What does that mean? Right. We want to magnify our office, as it says. Right. Let's go to the book of Romans, the 11th chapter and the 19th verse, I believe. All right. Salakia. All right. Oh, verse 13, right? Romans chapter 11, verse 13. For I speak to you, Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify my office. Meaning, Paul, he wanted to do everything that he could in his power, right, to do this work. And he already knew and understood what his lot was and what his office was. If you understand what your office is, magnify that office. Do everything that you possibly can, right, to essentially magnify it, man. If the Lord gave you the office of being a teacher, then you want to magnify that. You want to study more, you know what I'm saying? You want to teach more, you want to make more videos, etc., etc. Right? If you're a lot, or if your office is to be a good reader, then, you know what I'm saying, magnify that. And for the sisters, if your office is to what? If the Lord gave you that gift to make garments, then make garments. Magnify your office, And that's what the Lord is saying to us. Right, 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 6. For I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand. Paul, his death, according to history, Paul's death was to be, or is rather, he was decapitated. All right, his head got chopped off in the guillotine. All right, that was his death. That's how he died. He died a martyr. And Paul, he understood this. This was actually Paul's last letter, 2 Timothy. All right. But it says, for I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. That's what Paul said, man. And he said he fought a good fight. And he did. We can see the mighty acts that Paul did. You know what I'm saying? We can see the mighty works that Paul has put forth in the name of Yahweh Bashman. We can see those mighty acts. And he fought that good faith, man. He endured into the end, right? As soon as the Lord brought him into this thing, he remained on fire. And if Paul can do that, that means that we can do that as well, right? We can remain steadfast in our understanding, right? We can labor more abundantly, I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Henceforth, there's laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love his appearing. And Paul, he talks about that crown of righteousness, right? Now, a lot of the apostles, they also talk about that crown of righteousness, man. In Revelation chapter 2 and verse 10, the Lord speaks about that crown of life. In James chapter 1 and verse 12, James talks about blessed is a man that endureth temptation. For when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. So we always talk about that crown, man. That crown is not just physical, right? It's also symbolic for what that kingdom of heaven, that rulership. All right, because even in Revelation chapter 22 And like it's 21 in verse 1, it talks about a new heaven and a new earth, right? Wherein there was no sea, all right? Meaning that what? That new heaven and that new earth is not just talking about a whole different damn new earth. You know what I'm saying? Earth 2.0. That's not what it's talking about, right? That new heaven and that new earth is going into that new rulership in which the Israelites will be able to rule once again. The Lord also talks about that in the Old Testament. He talks about what? That we shall have the first dominion. All right, because remember, initially, Israel was supposed to be ruling the world, and that was our lot. That was our office in terms of being the chosen nation. But since we destroyed ourselves through sin, pursuant to the book of Hosea, we are brought into a lower state. Now, in Deuteronomy 28, verse 1, the Lord does talk about, right, if you would diligently keep the commandments, that the Lord will set us on high above all nations that are upon the face of the earth. And that still applies. The Lord never negated that scripture. So if we're keeping the commandments now, Lord willing, we're part of that number. The Lord's going to bring us back, on top. All right. Where it says what? And so and Paul also understood that, and he had faith that he would receive that crown. He was confident. He understood that there was a crown waiting for him. All right. And also not only for him, but also unto all those that love his appearing. All those that keep the commandments diligently, right? That are on fire, that have the faith, Verse 9, do thy diligence to come shortly unto me, for Demas have forsaken me, having loved this present world, and is departed unto Thessalonica, Crescens to Galatia, Titus unto Dalmatia. So Demas, he forsook Paul. He left him. Demas and Paul might have been, so-called homeboys. They were cool. There's not, many accounts of Demas, but Paul is literally writing this for a reason, right? He's saying, for Demas have forsaken me, having loved this present world. Demas, he loved this present world, man, right? And we can't love this present world. There's nothing to love in this world, man. It's full of lust, maliciousness, evil, concupiscence, murder. That's what the world has for us, man. Right? The Lord said what? Right? Let's go to the book of 1 John. Chapter 2, verse 15. And it reads, love not the world. It's plain. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. It doesn't mean you can't love the Most High's creations. It doesn't mean that you can't cherish and love the earth, but you can't love this world. Because in Galatians chapter 1, verse 4, the Lord called this world, this present evil world. Because it is an evil world, man. Job chapter 9, verse 24, right, that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And so the wicked is ruling this world right now that we live in, man. What is there to love about it then? If Yahweh Bashim Habashah isn't ruling it, then, and Satan is ruling it from day to day, and is walking up and down in it, right? And we are suffering from the curses. What is there to love about it? Going back to that. 2 Timothy chapter 4. All right. See where we at right now. Right, 23. All right. So 2 Timothy chapter 4. So Demas, he forsook Paul and he loved this present world. He went back into the world, man. Right? Probably to go, freak off or to go indulge in his lust. Verse 11. Only Luke is with me. Take Mark and bring him with thee, for he is profitable to me for the ministry. And Titius have I sent to Ephesus. The cloak that I left at Troas with Carpus, when thou comest, bring with thee, and the books, but especially the parchments. So he said, bring the books as well, man. And it's no telling what kind of books Paul was talking about. Remember, Paul was a studious man. He knew the law like the back of his hand. He was a Pharisee. All right. So he had to be reading books. Paul also being a Roman citizen, he was given certain rights and certain educational skills, rather, also. and educational benefits. So there's no type of there's no telling what kind of books Paul had, man. Right? He said, "Bring the books when you come." You know what I'm saying? Right? But this is what verse 14. And in Ecclesiastes 12 and 12, right, it says, in the making of many books, there's no end, right? Now, don't try to find the books that Paul was talking about. All right, there's even when you go into one of the epistles, the Lord, it's like, Paul, he mentions a letter that was sent to Laodicea, I believe, right? The letter to the Laodiceans. Don't try to find that book. Don't try to go into the dark web and try to obtain that, okay? Because we only have what the Lord gave us, the 80 books. And let's just stick with that, all right? Instead of us trying to, let's try to master this first instead of trying to dive into all these different books, right? Verse 4, Alexander the coppersmith did me much evil. The Lord reward him according to his works. Verse 15, of whom be thou aware also, for ye have greatly withstood our words. At my answer. So what Paul is doing, he's marking people, man. He's marking Demas, Alexander, the coppersmith. He did me much evil. Marking that man. And Paul even talks about marking people, right? You got to be aware of men, The Lord even talks about that. You got to be aware of men. All right? Romans chapter 16 and verse number 17. Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them. So Paul, he said, mark those men. All right. Keep note of them. All right. Keep note of them. And that's what Paul is doing right here. 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 16. At my answer, no man stood with me, but all men forsook me. I pray God that it may not be laid to their charge. Hey, that's mighty. That's mighty what Paul said. He said, hey, everybody he forsook. Now, we don't have the whole story. We don't have the whole story. But Paul is saying, I pray God that it may not be laid to their charge. Right? Let's go to the book of Acts chapter 7. We might want to curse somebody. Somebody's doing you much evil. Somebody might be slapping you in the face. And you might be deemed a man or a woman of the Lord. Somebody slapping you in the face. Or somebody speaking against you much evil. Cursing you out, man. But guess what? If we're spiritual like how Paul was right here, we'd be like, hey, I pray the Most High doesn't lay this upon their charge. I pray the Most High forgives them. Hey, you'd have to be on a very spiritual, very high level, Let's go to the book of Acts chapter 7 and verse number 59. It says, and they stoned Stephen, calling upon God and saying, Lord Yahushua, receive my spirit. And he kneeled down and cried with a loud voice, Lord, lay not this sin to their charge. And when he had said this, he fell asleep. So, meaning he died. But basically, Stephen, before he died, he said, Lord, lay not this sin to their charge. And they're doing a great sin, man. They're killing somebody unjustly. And not just somebody, Stephen, right? Who is a man of the Lord, serving at Yahushua. And what would the Lord do to those men? Because Stephen, he wanted their sins to be blotted out. Now, we don't know if the Lord listened to Stephen or if he said, yeah, I understand that, but guess what? I'm going to repay them back. We don't know, right? But Stephen, what we do know is Stephen, he said, Lord, lay not this sin to their charge. That's mighty. All right, that's mighty. And that's even the Lord, he said what? Right, that famous line, right? Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Right? They know not what they do. Right? Let's go to that real quick. I forgot exactly where it is. Right? Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 23, verse 34. It says, and then say Yahushua, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they parted his raiment and cast lots. So the Lord said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. You know? And you're being killed. And Yahushua said what? Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Right? So that's right. And we should want to take on that same spirit. And as Paul did as well. He said, I pray God that it may not be laid to their charge. Right? But 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 17. Notwithstanding, the Lord stood with me and strengthened me, that by me the preaching might be fully known, and that all the Gentiles might hear. And I was delivered out of the mouth of the lion. So the Lord, he can strengthen you at any time. You know, let's go to that real quick. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 40 and verse 31. Right? Actually, I can start at verse 29. It says, He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might, he increaseth strength. So he can increase your strength at any given second, man. You know? And sometimes you just have to pray unto the Lord for that strength, and he will give it to us. 2 Timothy, right? Chapter 4, right? 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 18. And the Lord shall deliver me from every evil work, and will preserve me unto his heavenly kingdom, to whom be glory forever and ever. Amen. Right? And that's true. The Lord is going to deliver us from every evil work, right? If we had that faith to do, for him to do so, right? Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 37, I believe. Right. Let's get this real. Oh, okay. Come on. Psalms, chapter 34 and verse 15. It says, The eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous, and his ears are open unto their cry. The face of the Lord is against them that do evil, to cut off the remembrance of them from the earth. The righteous cry, and the Lord heareth, and delivereth them out of all their troubles. So the righteous is nigh unto those that are righteous, right? And his ears are open unto their cry. Paul even talks about that in the book of 1 Peter, all right? It's lucky. Peter talks about that, all right? 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 19. Salute Priscilla and Aquila and the household of Onesiphorus, right? Salaki. And Paul, he says, salute Priscilla and Aquila. You know, those were certain Israelites that Paul was really close with as well. You can even read that in the book of Acts. I believe the 18th chapter, all right? Might have been the 17th chapter, all right? Verse 20. Aristides abode at Corinth, but Trophimus have I left at Miletum sick. Do thy diligence to come before winter. Abulius grieveth thee, and Pudens, and Lithianus, and Claudia, and all the brethren. The Lord Yahushua Bahashiach be with thy spirit. Grace be with you. Amen. And so with that, all praises to Yahushua. This was just a quick breakdown to the spirit. I wasn't able to get, too in depth with it. But, all praises to Yahushua. Lord willing, this is edifying. Brother Yasha Allah, Shalom.